All right. Can you guys all pull out the program, your program schedule for 3 days? The one that has your 3 days, the times, and all the classes. Pull out that table.
That's not mine.
Two would be enough for sure.
This is not one of the random.
Okay. Everyone pulled it out? So let's look at the part that says English Camp Activity. English Camp Activity. This should be a part of your rotation. Yes, everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is anyone trying to do this united with all the groups at the same time? If there is, then tell me now.
Wait, what was the question?
Is there any school or country that is trying to run their English Camp activities with their entire student body at one time?
We're actually removing the activity.
You don't have time to do it?
No.
Okay.
So all three camps are removing activity.
Okay, that's fine. But for Mexico and I think for the other countries, we are doing it still, right? So I'm going to explain how this is going to work. Now for a 3-day camp, we prepared 3 different activities, okay? I'll tell you what they are first and then I'll explain how they work. Now day 1 is just one type of game. One type of game.
Why are they not saying anything?
It's memorization Pong, okay? Memorization Pong, okay? On the second day, you're going to play also just one game, which is apples to apples. Okay? And on your third day, you're going to do 2 activities, back to back. So the whole third day is a vocab game, but it has 2 parts. So part 1 is going to be crossword. Part 2 is going to be charades or Pictionary, depending on what you're able to do. All right, let's talk about how to play each of these games one by one. All right, one by one. Now, with memorization Pong, if you guys look in your guidebook on the very last page before the blanks, you have famous quotes. Can you guys go there right now? Open up your guidebook, find the famous quotes. What you're going to do is, now most of you will probably have 2 to 4 groups moving together in a rotation. Yes?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Does anyone have an odd number of groups traveling together during rotation? Everyone's groups are even? Either 2 at a time or 4 at a time? Yes?
Yes.
Good. So, you're going to play this game with 2 teams facing off each other. 2 teams facing each other, okay? Now, let's say that you have 4 teams that came to your activity at one time. All 4 teams have to be able to play, but there's only one teacher, right? So how are you going to do that? You're going to set up a tournament, okay? How a tournament is going to work is, let's say you have teams A, B, C, and D. 4 groups came to your activity, okay? Then you're going to set up a tournament where first, Team A and Team B will face each other. Team C and Team D will face each other. Then from here, you're going to have winners, right? And you're also going to have losers. So let's say that Team A and Team D won. Then you'll have a winner's round, A versus D, but also you want to do a round for the losers, B versus C. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let the losers play first. Okay, after you do the first 2 preliminary rounds, let the losers play first, and then let the winners play last. And if you do this, you're going to get your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place ranking. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good. So, if B beats C, then that means C, because these were the losers already, that means C is 4th place. B is 3rd. Now these guys are playing for 1st place, right? So let's say D beat A. Then that means A came in 2nd, then D came in first. Does that make sense? All right, so this is how you get your rankings when you do a four-way tournament, okay? If you're only playing with two teams, it's pretty simple, but we designed the game so that we hope you have four teams playing each other in a tournament style, okay? So try to, if your rotation is there anyone who only has two groups moving together at a time? Everyone has four? You have two? Okay, so you're gonna have to get a little more creative with it, okay? You might want to play multiple rounds and make it more challenging each time. So that way they can play like 3 or 4 rounds, but different setups each time, okay? I'll explain how to do setups in a second. All right, so this is tournament style. Now you guys are going to play this way for memorization Pong, and also you want to do this for the charades and Pictionary on day 3. You want to set up a tournament style game for memorization Pong and for the charades Pictionary. Okay? All right, let me erase this. Can I erase this, everyone? Okay. So that's how to set up a 4-way tournament. In memorization Pong, you have 4 teams. You have 4 teams. Okay?
You have cookies.
They're under my desk.
You put them under your
There's like a hook under my desk. All right.
Now we know.
Okay. If anyone wants the joyride, okay. You have 4 teams. Now, what you're going to need to play this game is for each team you're going to need 10 cups. 10 cups. And you're going to need at least, I think, 2 ping pong balls. If you can request more, that's great. But at least have 2 for each team, okay? So each team that's playing will need 10 cups, and you want to get them not too small, okay? You don't want like those styrofoam coffee cups that we drink in the cafeteria, because that's really hard to try to bounce a ball into that kind of cup, right? People are going to lose. You want to get a good-sized plastic or paper cup, about this big, okay? So when you ask your country, like literally just take a picture of a cup and a ping pong ball so they can see the size. And I'll tell you guys how to calculate how many you need after. But first, I'll explain the rules. Each group is going to have around 10 people. If groups have more, that's fine. But make sure each group that's versing each other uses the same amount of people. If one group has 10 and the other group has 12, then 2 people probably got to rest. Okay? All right. So make sure the teams are even. Now, you're going to line up 10 cups on the table. And there's a few different ways you can set this up. The easiest way is to do bowling pin style. Like this. When you play your first round, maybe you can set the cups up like this. This is very easy, because if you bounce it, it's going to go in pretty easily, right? Okay. So what's going to happen is set up your cups and determine the distance that the students have to stand where they can bounce the ball. If they do it right here, I mean, that's easy. But if they do it from back here, it's not as easy. So you guys have to test it out, and maybe you'll do it on a table, maybe you'll do it on the ground. This can also be done on the ground too, okay? If you don't have long tables, you can just do it on the ground as well. Both are okay. But mark the distance where they have to bounce, where they can't cross. So if you try from back here, it's a little harder, all right? Okay, so 10 students lined up. What they have to do is they have to each pick one of those quotes and memorize it. They have to memorize their quote. Okay? Memorize their quote and then line up in line. Okay? Now, after all 10 students have lined up, that means that all 10 are saying, I've memorized my quote, I'm ready to play. They cannot start playing until all 10 have lined up with a memorized quote. Okay? So, let's say that Team A finished memorizing and they lined up first. Then Team A can go first. They can start right away. Team B is still busy memorizing. Well, that's too bad. They can't line up and start until they all finish memorizing and line up. Yes?
Do they each memorize their own separate quote, or they memorize one quote together as a team?
No, each has to be in charge of one specific quote. So if you have 10 people,
10 separate quotes.
10 separate quotes. Now, if you have 12 people playing 12 people, then 2 people on each team are going to have to double up and learn the same quote as someone else on their team. Okay? That's okay too.
So this way there's 10 quotes.
Yeah. Yes?
And we're not giving them a time limit on how long you get to memorize the quote, which is whoever memorizes it first.
Yeah, because they're racing against another team.
They're racing against the other team, so they're going to go fast. Now, probably teams are going to line up and say, we're ready, even though they didn't really finish memorizing, and that's okay. I mean, if they want to do that, that's fine. But the catch is, when it's that person's turn to throw, you as the teacher are first going to listen to their quote, and if they said it correctly. And if they said it correctly, then they get a chance. Okay? If they make it, great. Then that cup is out. Okay? You can flip it over, you can take it out of the thing, whatever you want. Okay? If that's too hard, then just leave all 10 cups there and just make it so that all 10 people have to get the ball in. Okay? It's as difficult as you want to make it. For me, I was thinking about removing the cup after each time that the team gets it in, but it's up to you, okay? You can be flexible with the rules. If this person says their quote correctly, gets it in, then this person can go sit down. Okay? Now let's say the next person came up, but they didn't say the quote right. Nope, go to the end of the line, practice, and then when it's your turn again, you can try again. So they got to be able to say it right before they can actually throw it. Okay? All right. Yeah.
So there's no specific order that they have to say their quotes in?
No, I think they can line up as they're ready. Okay? According to how they're ready. But don't start the game until all 10 have lined up. All right? The other thing is, when they're in line, they cannot be looking at their guidebook. Okay? If they want to look at their guidebook and stuff, they got to be way somewhere else. They got to stand out of line.
So then the whole team has to get down? Or just that one?
Just that person. They can't join in until they're ready to put their guidebook down. So while they're in line waiting, no looking at the guidebook. Okay? Guidebook is only for before they start, or after they get kicked out one time, they want to go somewhere else and practice and then come back. But remember, this is all taking up more time for them. So that's the catch.
Yes.
Okay? All right. The other thing is, if a person tries but they miss, what do you think they should do? Go to the back of the line. Or you can let them keep trying until they make it, or you can give each person like 3 tries before they have to go to the back. This is also your choice, okay? They got the quote right, but they missed. Okay, you can try 2 more times. They missed 2 more times, okay, go to the back. Or they got the quote right, but they missed once. Nope, go to the back. You have to make it one shot. This is up to you also. Okay, everyone? All right, but it's up to you to be very clear with the rules. Decide the rules, explain it to the activity teachers so that they can explain it to the students. Okay? All right. So like I said, you have 4 teams playing. 4 teams playing. Originally, we were going to have 2 teams sharing the same set of 10 cups, but I think this is not going to be easy if we do it that way. So actually, request 4 sets of cups. Okay? So how many cups do you need total? 40. If you're running 2 activity classes at the same time, activity 1 and activity 2, then how many do you need? 80. You need 80 cups, okay? So, remember, this is by school. If you're doing 2 schools at the same time, and each school has 2 rotations happening at the same time, then how many cups do you need? 160. So you have to think about how many cups do I need at one time, okay? And get your total number for your whole country, and then you can request for the pastor there to get the cups for you, okay? Getting a lot of cups is not very hard. For ping pong balls, there's good ping pong balls and then there's cheap ones. This is very cheap, but it does the trick, okay? So they don't have to get Olympic professional grade ping pong balls. They can get really cheap ones. I think it's okay to have like 2 balls per team, okay? And they can just keep using the same 2 balls. Because ping pong balls are going to be more expensive than cups. So just ask for like 2 balls per team. So if you have 8 teams, or if you have 4 teams, then that times 2. Everyone understand? Good. So play this tournament style, okay? After you guys finish the 2 rounds with the 2 teams, then determine your loser's round and your winner's round. Each time you play a new round, have the students shuffle the quotes that they have to memorize. Don't let them just play with the same quote all 4 times. Be like, okay, now you guys all got to learn a different quote, and we're going to play against this team now. Okay, everyone? Everyone understand?
Yeah.
Any questions about how to play memorization Pong? Pretty simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the easy setup is like this. When you play your first round, I think you can do it like this. But the second round, change it up a little. Maybe do a staggered straight line like this. Maybe something like that. So now it's a much more narrow field that they have to try to get the ball in. And then for your championship round, you can go even harder. Just make one long line, like this.
Or you can just cut the cups in half.
Okay. This is not going to be easy, just one straight line. So you guys kind of play with it a little bit, think about what you want to do, and just have your clear set of rules. Okay? All right, that's memorization Pong. You guys want to play one time? Oh, they don't want to play that. Okay. We will not play it, but you guys have to understand it, okay? Make sure you understand it. Alright, next game. This game we are going to play. This game is apples to apples. Now I prepared a sample set for you. What I want right now is we're going to get into 4 teams, okay? 4 teams. So let's count off by 4s, and then I want you to sit with the people in your team, okay? Starting from here.
1, 2,
Sakil, count your number.
3.
You're 3.
4.
No, go
One.
4s.
You're 1.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4. 1, 4. 2, 3, 4.
1, 2.
Okay, so now please sit with your group, okay? 1's here, 2's there, 3's here, 4's there. Everyone get up and move.
1, 1's over here. 1, 1.
It was standing out right.
Are we 1?
Yeah, 1.
I was listening.
They're recording me.
They're recording. Should we move back then?
Yes.
Move back behind.
Make sure you're sitting in desks though, okay?
Oh,
Sit in some desks.
You can sit here maybe.
I guess.
Around this together.
Okay. Now to play this game, first let me tell you the materials you're going to need. 4 teams are playing together. They just need 1 deck of apples to apples cards, okay? They just need 1 deck of cards for 4 teams. Now in this deck of cards, now you guys, today we're going to make these cards using index cards. So you're going to tell me how many decks you need. We're going to buy the index cards, and this afternoon you're going to write out the words for it, okay? So in this deck of index cards, you have 100 cards total. From those 100, 20 of them are green cards, okay? Now green cards usually will have an adjective, okay? An adjective. And then you have 80 red cards. And your red cards are going to have different nouns on them, okay? So this is 1 deck, 20 green cards, 80 red. Now, the teacher is going to be the judge of this game. And the students are going to sit according to their 4 groups in the classroom. The judge is going to hold on to the 20 green cards in the front. And then to each group, you're going to distribute evenly the 80 red. So how many cards does each team get? 20, right? Now I didn't make 80 red cards, but I'll give each of you 6, okay? So I'm going to give them to you face down. 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you double check? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Each team gets 6.
Each team will get 6.
Okay, everyone gets 6.
4, 5, 6. Are you guys team 4? Make sure it's 6. 1,
Yeah, you never know. So it's better to learn than
5, 6.
than go there.
Here's your 6 cards.
Yeah.
Now don't look at them yet. Joy, you cheated. You have to keep them face down. Alright. Now realistically, you're going to have a deck of 20. But right now you only have a deck of 6. So what the teacher's going to say is, okay everyone, you can draw 5 of your cards from your red deck. So all of you take 5. Take the top 5. That means you'll have 1 that's still face down. Take the other 5. You can look at those 5. Know what kind of nouns you have.
locker room, log cabin, a mermaid, $1 million.
Now as you're looking at these words, there might be words that the students don't understand. So maybe give them some time to figure out what all the words in their deck mean. Or in their hand mean, okay? The ones that are still face down, they can't know what they are yet. Alright. Now this is what's going to happen. The judge is going to call out a green card. I'm going to pick one of my green cards, and I'm going to say it to the group. I'm going to say it to all of you. For example, calm. Calm. This is an adjective. Calm. I'm going to put it here. Now, you guys have to choose a word from your red deck that you can draw some kind of connection to the word calm. But the thing is, the first 3 teams to send someone up here and throw their red card on the table, I will accept. The 4th team will be disqualified because they're too late. So the first 3 teams to choose a word and come up will get it chosen. The last team will not get to try. After you guys put your word up here, I'm going to ask each group to explain why they chose that word. And this is where you have to make a connection. Now don't make an obvious connection, okay? Like if I put calm and you choose the word ocean, oh, the ocean is calm. That's boring. Choose something creative, clever, maybe funny, something catchy, okay? And you have to explain why you chose that word. Okay, ready?
Wait.
I'm not going to use the word calm. I'm going to change it, obviously. That make it too easy. You guys think you have all the time in the world, huh? Okay. The word is delicate. Delicate. Go.
Which one?
Only one person needs to come up from each team.
Which one?
Okay, we already have 3. We already have 3. Last team 1 disqualified.
That was fast.
Okay. So I have 3 red cards. Car crash, flat tire, and a funeral.
What's the word?
Okay, so who had funeral? Okay, team 3, team 4. Why did you choose funeral for delicate? You better make a connection.
Funeral.
Boring. Okay, who chose car crash? Okay, why did you choose car crash? Car crash and delicate.
Because cars are delicate and a car crash.
Boring.
Wait, can I change it? Can I help out?
No, you don't get 2 tries. You guys have to have one reason first, okay? But let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Because when there's a car crash and the person's hurt, you have to be delicate with them.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, she thought about it a little bit more. All right. But still boring. Okay. Who chose flat tire? Okay, all of our hope is in this last team. Why is a flat tire delicate?
Because it's a delicate process to change the tire.
That's true. You know,
Okay, what's that one to you?
people who have changed tires, you know how delicate it is, right? Just for the game's sake, I'm just pretending like I like their answer, but I didn't. Boring. But I have to choose a winner, okay? So I would say, good, I choose team 3. Then team 3 gets the green card, delicate. So this is your point. So at the end of the game, the team with the most green cards wins. All right, next word. Ready?
Wait.
Alright, I don't know.
You ready?
Do we get more cards or what do we do?
Yeah, now draw another card from your deck. You always have to have 5 in your hand,
Oh,
okay?
if you already have 5, then you don't call.
Then you don't bring another one out. Only have 5. Okay, ready? Okay, I like this one. The word is arrogant. Arrogant. Okay, we have 3. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how this is
still recording?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Okay.
The light is on.
Okay.
Alright, sit down, sit down. Okay, so the green word was arrogant. So we have a mermaid, a queen, and a refrigerator. Okay, so let's hear a queen. Who did queen? Who did queen? Raise your hand.
What's the connection?
Okay, tell me why. Queen and arrogant.
Jose.
Don't.
Because
5,
a work queen.
4,
For queen?
3.
Oh, because she's like, she's full of pride, you know? That's like.
Boring. Obviously, everyone knows a queen is arrogant. Okay. Okay. Who chose a mermaid? Okay, this is interesting. Why is the mermaid arrogant?
She lives under the sea and she's got a lot of money from the ships that has sunk. So that's why she's arrogant.
Okay. So she sinks ships?
Yes, she's
How?
mean. She's mean.
She's a monster?
She's a mermaid. She ain't pretty, actually.
Oh. That's a little bit better, right? A little more thinking. Okay. All right. Last. Refrigerator and arrogant. Who chose this? Okay, what is your connection?
Eat whatever mom cooks up. Stop checking the refrigerator. You dirty piece of phone.
Okay. So Joey kind of went off on a tangent, but you guys, you see, but what he did is, you don't have to necessarily say the refrigerator itself is arrogant, but you have to be able to make a connection between these two, right? So don't just think like one-dimensional, okay? Think a little bit deeper than that, okay? And make a connection that's good and makes sense, right? Okay, good. I still like Joey's the best, okay? So, Joey, you get the green card. All right, let's play again.
Oh, we're out of cards.
All right, obviously you guys can't draw anything else, so just use what you have, okay?
You're supposed to give the blue card, the social full card.
Right. I only prepared 6 per team, so. Okay, ready? Okay, I like this one.
Yes, what?
All right,
I'll stop the DJ.
the adjective is ridiculous. Ridiculous. 1, 2.
I'm sorry.
Three.
I don't even know which one I picked.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What'd you put up there?
Okay,
I don't know.
so we have a school bus, a piano, and a broken leg. Okay?
Ridiculous.
All right, who did piano? Okay, what is your connection?
What is the word again?
Piano.
No, the other
Ridiculous.
one. Oh, ridiculous.
Oh, you kind of have to know that before you.
Yes.
Yes.
So the mom told the kid that playing the piano is ridiculous because it's like not a good dream to have, but the kid still went with it and became like a famous pianist.
That's so emotional. That's like a movie. My heart is all like touched and moved right now. All right, I don't know if that's what I was looking for, but that was pretty deep. Okay, serious atmosphere got super serious. Okay. All right, who did a school bus? Okay, why school bus is ridiculous?
Well, there's a lot of things that are ridiculous. First of all, every school bus driver is hired because they're habitually late. So it's ridiculous that you have to wait in the freezing cold for like 20 minutes for a school bus. And also the things that happen on the school bus stay on the school bus because you know what things happen on the school bus. High school, public middle school. And also yeah, you should know.
That's a winner
If you went to public school.
Wow, now the atmosphere got so serious, right? Okay. Right. First touching and then serious. Okay, but I can relate. We can all relate. Okay, last. A broken leg. A broken leg. Who had a broken leg?
You did.
Who had a broken leg? Okay, yes.
Did.
Broken leg and
So
ridiculous.
this person was walking right, and then somebody just came and he started like stabbing their bones, and then their bones started popping out. And when they walked like super ridiculously.
That's the ridiculous part? Out of everything you said, that's the ridiculous part? You take it. You win. I'm truly at a loss for words. Okay, one more round. This time, I'm only going to accept the first 2 teams.
Oh. Okay, pick one. Whatever.
Oh, this is good.
Wait.
Okay, ready? The word is delicious. Delicious.
Yes.
2 teams only.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So you guys, I think when you play this in your classroom, to be fair, have the judge sitting somewhere where he or she is easily accessible to all the groups at the same time, okay? Because like Bethel has to like run a marathon just to get here. So I feel bad.
And also, you don't necessarily have to put off the last one. You can still accept all 4 and just have them win by explanation.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
That was just my little like addition, okay? You guys can have all 4 teams be able to play.
But what you do is you can also do a timer. So when I do that, I'm going to give you 10 seconds or 15 seconds to choose one, and you count down. Whoever does not put it down within the 15 seconds is going to be rejected.
Okay, we have 2 words. A saw, and a bakery. Okay, let's hear a bakery first. Who had bakery? Okay, why?
The bakery's bread was delicious because Jimmy Todd used the cream to make the pie.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
You have to what?
That was like.
I'm curious.
It's human meat to make a pie.
Human meat.
Okay. All right. Next, who chose a saw? A saw. Yes. Why is a saw delicious? Okay, what do you have?
Well, compared to theirs, it's like it's nothing. Cause I was just gonna say like the mother ran out of like kitchen knives, so then she started using a saw. But I didn't think that she would like use human meat. Like,
I didn't ask you to.
Yeah.
But then why does that have to do with delicious?
Because even though she made it with the saw, the food was delicious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, compared to the other one.
That wasn't.
So green card goes to Soyeon. Okay. All right. So we'll stop here. Can you guys give me back your cards? Okay, we're not done. We still have one more game to explain. Did everyone give their cards back? Okay. So apples to apples is pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
All right. Your students might not have as complicated and as gory and as like cruel explanations as you guys, but still, it's going to give them a chance to practice, right? Okay, it's going to give them a chance to practice. It's fun. Yeah, you guys are pretty like cannibals and like murderers, monster mermaids. And, okay,
Leg
so
stabbing.
you guys, that was a classic. That will forever remain with me. Okay, you guys have to make one deck per activity class because you're gonna have 4 groups sharing the same deck. That deck will have 100 cards. So today, in fact, like after this lesson is over, you guys need to calculate how many cups you need, how many ping pong balls you need, and how many decks of apples to apples cards you need. Understand?
Yes.
Okay, you have to do that ASAP, okay? But wait until we finish this lesson. Wait until we finish this lesson. For Mexico, I already did it. Okay? I got you. Okay, I got Mexico. All right. But for the other countries, you guys got to figure it out. Okay. Now let's talk about the last day, vocabulary game. Vocabulary game has 2 parts. Now, the vocabulary they're going to use in this last game, because it's on the last day, they've already learned all the vocabulary that will be taught throughout this English camp, right? Well, they'll learn most of it by then. You're going to use the vocab that we've learned in the mind education, the reading about the prisoner, from the commercials and the movie clips that we saw in listening, and from the lectures. Like all the vocab that's been throughout this English camp are going to go into these games. Now, you want to have 2 teams facing off each other. 2 teams facing off each other. But first, before they can face each other, each team needs to complete these crossword puzzles. So, I prepared 3 crossword puzzles. Let's look at one. Now, this is all vocabulary from the videos. And I think there's like 20 words, okay? So, for example, let's look at 5 across. We are the greatest team in the world. You remember that from the hockey clip, right? Okay. How about the speed a turtle moves at? Slow, right? Okay. So some of these words, the word is from a video clip or from the story, but the definition is different. The definition I gave is not like an obvious one, okay? All right. We take you to a blank chase involving a Prius.
Car.
Police chase. It was police chase. So if the students, if they actually did what they were supposed to, if they wrote it down during the listening lesson, they're going to be able to check their transcript. If they didn't, then they're in trouble. Okay? You're eating Doritos, right? So the students are going to recall what they learned, and they're going to be able to fill this out. It shouldn't take too long, as long as they did everything for 3 days correctly. Let's look at one from the mind lecture. Now, this is going to be from the prisoner story. You guys haven't read it yet. We're going to talk about that after this. But most of these are fill in the blank, and these can be found in the actual story if they know where to look. Okay? Some of them cannot. For example, the leader of a church, pastor. All right? That's not written like that in the story, but the word is in the story, so they should figure it out. A person who has a lot of money is rich. R-I-C-H. Okay? All right. So all the vocabulary comes from there. If your group has 10 people, then I would say give them all 3 crosswords and have them split up into 3 mini teams and let them just solve all 3 at the same time. That make sense? Yeah. Just let them solve all 3 at the same time. So you'll have maybe 4 groups in your classroom. Just give them each group give them 3 crosswords, 1, 2, and 3. Say, okay, you guys got to finish this first, and then we're going to play the game. Now, the reason that they're doing this is not connected to the second game per se, okay? They have to finish this first before we play the second game. But the reason why we're doing this is the vocab in here is the same vocab that's going to come out in charades. So you want these vocab words to be in the back of their mind. So this is kind of like a primer. It's going to warm up their brains. Oh yeah, police, chase, Doritos, highway, prisoner, pastor. As these words are in their brains because they did the crossword, and when we play charades or Pictionary, they're going to be ready to go. Okay? So don't necessarily treat these as one game. It's like 2 parts. Do the crossword first. When all 4 teams are done, then we'll play charades. Understand? Okay, good. How many groups do you have at your schools? Let's say you have 32 groups. Then you need to print 32 copies of each of these. Because every group needs 1 of each. So you have to calculate how many schools do I have total, how many groups do I have total. And that's how many copies of these 3 crosswords you're going to need. Mexico, I already did it. Okay? All right. Does everyone else understand? Good. So we'll print these here at Mannheim. Okay, we'll print these here at Mannheim, so come up with that number today. When we play charades, we're also going to do this tournament style. So you'll have 4 teams. You'll have 2 teams facing off each other at the same time. So I think what you want to do is give each team like 2 minutes to guess as many words as they can. Does everyone know how to play charades?
Yes.
So charades is basically where I have a word, and then let's have Sakyan, you stand here. Esther, can you come out? Okay. Now Esther, you're facing Sakyan with your back to me. Sakyan, you're facing me. Okay? Now, Sakyan is going to be able to see the word. Esther cannot. So based on the word that I show, Sakyan is going to act it out, and then she has to guess it. If she gets it right, then that's a point. If she gets it wrong, she can say pass, and we'll go to the next word, or she can just keep guessing until they run out of time, right? All right, ready? Only acting, no speaking. So Sakyan, you can pass or you can keep going.
Pass.
Okay? Yes, 1 point. Okay, next.
Prius.
Prius.
Oh.
Stealing. Oh.
Not exactly. You got to get it right, okay?
Pass.
Okay. All right, that's enough. That's enough. All right, so stop there. So this is how you play charades, right? When you have a group of 10, have 1 student be the guesser, and have the other 9, or have 1 student, how do you do this? 1 student guesses, the other 9 take turns acting. You understand? The other 9 take turns acting. So every time 1 student gets a word right, then that guesser should go join the line, and the next person in line should become the next guesser. So switch guessers every time they get a point. Okay? Or have the same guesser just stay the same all the way through. It's if you want to give them a chance to have fun or not. Right? It's up to you. This is how you play charades. There are 4 sets of vocabulary. You're going to make index cards for these 2. Okay? Each set has 15. So there's words from the videos. There's words from the first mind lecture, the first reading lesson, from the second reading lesson, and the third reading lesson. So 4 decks. When you have 4 teams playing tournament style, don't let teams use the same deck the first time you play through, okay? Let each team use a separate deck. So if you have 2 activities, then you need 1 set of cards, or you need 2 sets of cards for all of these. That is 60, that's 120 note cards. So calculate how many note cards you need. If you only need one set, then you just need 60 note cards to make one set. If you need 2 sets, then you need 120 note cards, and so on and so on. Does everyone understand? Okay, so calculate how many note cards you need. All right, so those are the games. There's one more way to play this. So we're going to play this real quick as a group. Can I have one volunteer to be a guesser, and can I have 3 volunteers to come up and draw? Come on, guys, you're teachers. Get used to volunteering. 1 guesser, 3 drawers. Nobody?
I'll draw.
Okay, 1 drawer, 2 drawers. 1 more drawer, one more. Soyeon's a good drawer. Okay, Soyeon, come up. Okay,
Let's move the music one.
yeah, we can. Let's take this down.
So hard to write on that thing with lines.
If you can play the game this way because your school has a blackboard or a whiteboard in the space where you're doing activity, then try playing this way instead. This is called Pictionary. But there's a catch. In normal Pictionary, instead of acting, one person will just come out and just draw a picture until the guesser guesses the word. But in this kind of Pictionary, we're going to do it different, okay? So can you 3 line up right here along this side? So can you 2. So line up in order, okay? And then, Jose, can you be the guesser?
I can.
Okay, good. I'm going to show them a word. They're going to line up and they're going to take turns drawing a part of that word. Each person only has 3 seconds to draw as much as they can before the next person has to draw. Understand?
Yes.
So they're going to take turns trying to complete one picture, right? They're going to take turns trying to complete one picture, and he's going to try to guess the word, okay? All right. So you're not going to see it, okay? So don't look, but they'll see it, okay? All right, so, class, the first word, I'll show you guys what it is, okay? Don't look, that takes away the fun. Okay? All right, drawers, ready? Go! 3, 2, 1, change! 3, 2, 1, change! 3, when she starts drawing, 3, 2, 1, change! 3, 2, 1, change!
$1 million.
Ooh! Did you see it?
No, it was one of our vocab.
How did you get it?
It was in the vocabulary. We had it actually.
Yeah, it was our
Ah.
I saw the like a bill.
Okay.
So I thought it was good.
Okay. Either you're a good liar or you really okay. All right, let's
We
try
had
another
that,
3. Sit
didn't
down.
we?
Another 3 students, come up and draw. Guys, come on, you gotta volunteer, you gotta be active. If you guys aren't active, what are your students gonna do? 3 drawers and 1 guesser. 1 guesser. Who wants to guess? Anderna? Okay, come to the hot seat.
Oh, I judge your choices.
All right, this one's not too hard. All right, class, I'll show it to you guys first. Can you see it? Okay, not too hard, right? Everyone's like, I can draw that. Okay, you guys ready? All right, ready? I'm going to start counting when she starts drawing. Ready? Go. 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1.
Have mercy on the chalk.
You gotta push it back out.
No, pull it out. Open it and pull it out.
Easy on the chalk.
Easy on the chalk.
Chalk didn't do anything wrong.
3, 2, 1, go.
There you go.
Good.
3, 2, 1, go.
Keep going.
Yeah.
One tree.
3,
Forest.
yeah, got it. So I understand how these are trees.
That's an Indian.
What is that?
That looks like a highway.
Okay. This is like half a person having a
Well, I don't understand what that.
That's a bird? Okay. each deck has 15 words. I think if you give each team about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes tops, it's enough time to try to run through the words, okay? So again, the teams that get the most points, they go to the second round, do another round for losers, for winners, like so on and so forth. That'll definitely take up 1 period. If you try to do crosswords and this game afterwards, you'll run out of time, okay? Yeah?
Wait, but what if you have 4 teams in the class? Then if each team gets a different deck, then when they do the rematches, you would need 2 other decks?
No, then start recycling the decks.
Okay.
But make sure they don't use the same deck twice.
Okay.
They can use another team's deck that they used in a previous round.
Okay.
All right, so just do everything within 4 decks. Okay. Any other questions? No? Probably you're going to have each team take turns 1 at a time when they play this.
Right.
So try to get through the crossword as quick as you can. Okay. If you have to reduce it to 2 crosswords from 3, do it. But it's going to put them at a disadvantage because they won't be able to think about all the vocab for the charades. Good? No more questions? All right. Again, you need to calculate how many ping pong balls you need and how many cups you need. Okay, for all your schools to be able to run your rotation. You have to think about how many decks of apples to apples cards you need, and remember that each deck has 100 cards in it, so how many note cards do you need total? You also have to think about how many copies of crosswords you need. You need 1 crossword for every group, and you have 3 crosswords, so it's that, okay? Think about how many decks of charades you need to make. You have 4 decks of 15 cards each. So you need 1 of this for every activity class that you're running at the same time. Any questions? Okay, so write this out. You have to let me know, try to let me know after lunch, okay? After lunch so that I can go buy the index cards that we need and I can also print the crossword puzzles. The cups and the ping pong balls, you're going to ask the missionary in your country to prepare for you, okay? But paper stuff we'll make here. All right, so figure out your numbers. Tell me when?
After lunch.
After lunch. Tell me after lunch when we gather again.
Wait, how do we divide the apples?
You have ours, right?
Is it 1 deck per team?
We need to tell you what you already got.
It is 1 deck
I have ours
per
here.
class.
No, but let's look at it again because you guys kind of changed it a little bit.
Yeah, but in
All
class you might have up to 3.
right, Pastor. Look.
100 altogether.
Gano pa, how do
Alright
you,
guys, I bought some coffee and donuts on the way.
how do you divide the apples to apples? Is it 1 deck per 1 team or 1 deck per class?
1 deck per class
1 deck
because
per
4 teams can just use 1 deck.
Okay.
You didn't just do it for like the school that we're going to, you did it for like the whole Mexico, right?
Let's look at it again because last night after you guys kind of played with the rotations, it might be a little different. So we'll run through it again.
Pardon me.
Now, I was on the way and that was my main thing. Our main focus was that. And now we're organizing games and pilots, but we have to see if your school is teaching to rotation. Maybe you guys did yesterday.
So Sister Tanya, maybe try running through it and just seeing what you need 1 more time, just to make sure. By school. Jion, do it with Sister Tanya, okay? And Derna, look at yours too for your week 2 school. Week 1, I'll take care of.
Thank you.
Jose, can you also check to make sure you know which supplies you need? Can you also check and make sure you know how much of each thing you need? I did it, but I want you to check too and make sure. Because I want to okay.
Alright, so what do you want me to make sure of for all 3?
Yeah, figure out how many of each thing you need. Okay? And then show me. And I'll see if it matches the one. Did you pause it?
Oh no.
We're done. You can download and then